All right, beautiful people. What is going on?
Welcome to
I
this
missed you
beautiful
guys.
Monday.
It is a beautiful Monday.
I missed you guys too. Man, we've been
We've
going
been at
hard
it.
at the live event.
We've been at it for the past 2 months, really, but the past 6 days has been a long series of events. Long series of events. And we're back, and we're excited to be here with you guys because we have such an incredible topic, kind of breaking down the experiences from this week, but also just something that's been heavy on our minds of protecting your mind and giving you the strength and the tools to be able to win the battle over your mind. That's the title of this show. That's the title of today's episode. And by the end of the episode, you're going to have tools in your tool belt and how to actually use them, how to think, how to create a shield around your mind, a shield around your heart, so that as you're growing bigger and bigger things, you're going to be good.
How to talk to yourself and about yourself.
Absolutely.
That's a big one. I want to know how you guys are feeling.
How are you guys feeling? One at a time, type it in the chat. I see Bill here. I see Marlene here. We are back on this beautiful Monday. We got some good tea today. We are drinking a whole leaf white tea. I want to show it here. We're getting new tea every single day for this beautiful show.
I just went like crazy on Amazon. I was like, let's try some unique teas. I just typed in unique teas. So we have like 40-something new flavors or teas that we're about to try. Some really cool, unique ones. So we're going to be sharing that with you guys.
The reason we started this show is just to have some tea.
It's really a way for us to be accountable to drink our
tea.
daily tea.
And me and Andrew just chat about what we chat about. But now, like, you guys get to be here with us, so that's the best thing ever. So
Bill's a 9.5 plus. I like that.
There you go, Bill. It's so good to see you this week. Marlon is feeling an 8. Everyone else, type in the chat. What's up, Les? How you feeling?
Hey yo.
Hey yo. We got our people here. Okay, Andrew.
Yes.
Super deep topic, but we are in a groove of just debriefing from the event.
Yeah.
So we're not in a very like deep mindset,
Mm-hmm.
but I think this is gonna be a fun topic just to like go in such a deep conversation with a lighthearted style.
Yeah.
And I think this is good because we have these conversations sometimes, and it's good to laugh about situations
For sure.
and just sit back and say, okay, hey, how can we protect ourselves from evil? How can we protect ourselves from negative mindset, negative people, things that go on in our world that sometimes we can't control?
Yeah.
But the one thing we can control is our mind, how we react to things, how we deal with things. So that's kind of the vibe I want this show to be in, this episode to be in. It's just lighthearted, but I want to kind of get your knowledge out, your biblical knowledge, and then our experience and kind of give it to the amazing, beautiful people here.
Absolutely. I love that. And I want to start by saying, Leo, when we was talking about this topic, the biggest thing that I dealt with for so many years was I was not nice to myself. And my self-talk was horrible. And I know we've talked about on this show where you said to me, if you was with you, but you wasn't you, if you were your best friend, and the way Andrew talks to Andrew is sitting here by you, would you hang out with that person?
Right.
And I was like, no. And I share that because a lot of times I'll talk to someone and like they're really nice people, really good people, even people who, pray or have faith, and yet they have this very negative talk and many times around self-talk.
Right.
And life and death is in the power of the tongue. And when we truly take ownership of the things we say to ourselves, about the situations around us. For example, I hear people often say, like, I'm really shy on stage. I said, you told me you want to be a public speaker. I'm not going to allow you to use that kind of language about yourself. Don't say you're shy on stage. Say, I used to be shy, and I am now working on getting better. And so changing that wording immediately gives a command to our subconscious mind to say, hey, it's going to be different. So just understand, like, as we started talking about this, that's the first thing that come to my mind. And as we're talking about our self-talk and our faith and understanding this topic and diving a little bit deep in a lighthearted way, I think that's going to be a powerful frame to start from.
Yeah, I used to be really shy in everything, going in front of a camera. I used to be shy going on stage, anything that had to do with speaking, because I did exactly that. I told
Yeah.
myself I'm too shy. People are going to laugh at me. I don't bring enough value. Until I realized those words, they create trueness in you,
Create
right?
your reality.
It creates the way you feel. It creates the way your body language responds. Because if I have the narrative and belief that I'm shy and that people are not going to like me, when I go on stage, my brain is shouting that at me.
Right.
And that brain is going to send signals to my body to feel that way. And all of a sudden, I can't focus on my speech. And that is what creates you being not good on stage,
Right.
which is our fear. But now when I've realized, hey, you can sit back and you just have to serve. Whenever we're on this live show, we just sit down, we drink our tea and just say, how can we serve? That's why we don't get nervous. I think that's why we don't get nervous over the past 5 years of doing this, because we simply just serve.
Right.
We take the attention off of us. And then when we're in our mindset, we'll still get moments of nervousness. And hey, do we have are we fully prepared? Should we have prepared longer for this? And then when we get back to the state of mind and the mindset and the talk of we're just here to serve,
Yeah.
we're gonna do a great job. I got you, you got me, right? And you say it to yourself too. I got myself. We're good. Then the nerves kind of go away. And it's understand that your self-talk is going to create your reality. And that's kind of been the theme over the past week of us saying that continually. What you constantly say to yourself is what you're going to live out. Your subconscious brain controls 95% of the decisions that you make. The decisions you make are your actions, right? Your actions create your results creates the life that you currently have. But you feed your subconscious every day. Every single day, everything you say, everything you listen to feeds your subconscious. So if you know that your subconscious controls your reality, that is why, at the deepest level, why we need to say the right things to ourselves every day, why we need to spend time around the right people like Andrew, who will continually out loud to himself say nice things, but to other people uplift them.
Yeah, I think that was a huge shift for me, because that's something like growing up, we never had, was like, we always knew we loved each other, right? As a family. I always knew my parents loved me. I always knew as a family these things. And so I remember going through some really tough times and coming up with the theory of give what I most need.
Right.
And so I started specifically during that time. I remember feeling super down, and I hadn't learned to talk nice to myself yet. But something I specifically did was said, I'm going to be out seeing people. I'm going to specifically comment or compliment 5 different people. Like, hey, like the jacket. That could have been the simplest comment or just a kind word, man. Thanks so much for doing that. That was very kind.
Right.
And doing that shifted my habit to make me someone who continually lifts up others in a way I don't even look for it anymore. That's a cool jacket. Thank you. Boom. Immediately it just comes as second nature, because it's a rep that I worked on for a long time.
Yeah.
And something I once heard was your mind is either a battlefield or a garden, but you get to choose which.
I like that. I like that a lot. We have a lot of weeds in our mind.
Yeah.
Right. And you have to every day. Here's the thing, right? When it comes to the garden, to that point, there's always weeds that grow. And sometimes people plant seeds in your mind, right? If I'm a super manipulative person, right? I'm like, Andrew, I love the way you do this, but I feel like sometimes you're a little bit too much, right?
Yeah.
I feel like you're too much. I heard from someone that you're too much. I've had people say that to me before, and it's like they're so good because they lead it with something nice and then give you a bit of insecurity. Plants a seed in your mind, all of a sudden weeds start growing of maybe am I too much? Am I too much? Right? And you think about that. I used to think all the time, like, dang, am I too much? Because I've had someone tell me that before.
Mm-hmm.
And then boom, it starts to grow into a bigger weed. And in the weeds, I don't know how weeds work, but I'm in this analogy, it plants other weeds around and it starts to poison your whole garden.
They spread.
And then it turns into a battlefield, turns into a darkness.
Yeah.
Right? That's why you stay the absolute farthest away from insecure people. Like when you see someone insecure and you're not fully the confident version of yourself yet, like push them so far away from you, because you need to work on your mind first and get your mind into a strong place where you have gardeners in your mind, right? I create mini gardeners to make sure to get rid of the weeds, right? And which are my affirmations that I continually say to myself. But if you don't have that yet, like push them so far away because they will poison your whole life and poison your whole mind.
That's powerful. And I think as you're making that shift and you're taking ownership for the thoughts we think, there's a Bible verse that says, take into captivity every thought. Every time something comes into our mind, we have the choice to dwell on it or to push it away. And when we start to actually live that, we start to believe that, and we start to implement that, then everything in our life begins to shift because you believe that you are the person of wealth. You believe you are the person who attracts great friends, and you act as that person would act. But let's go a little deeper in today's topic, Leo. Where are we headed with this?
First of all, shout out Furneaux.
What's up, brother?
We saw Furneaux at our event. Super big shout out.
The event was awesome, by the way.
And then shout out Randy. Randy's someone who's taught us an incredible amount about what we're talking about. Okay, going deeper. So I want to first cover, hey, why does our mind default to negative self-talk? Fear, failures, and different aspects of our life create these survival instincts, right? Because way back, we still have the same instinctual energy that protected us when we felt fear, right? Boom, something happens, we felt fear, and it made us survive.
Right.
Where before, you feel that fear and you didn't know, and then you died, head chopped off, something like that. Crazy happened. Saber-tooth tiger, bitten, gone. So then we created these instincts that are so instinctually built in our minds. And that's why it's natural now for us to have gone through a moment of feeling failure or feeling rejection where those feelings come back, fight or flight, come back. And it sticks and creates a narrative in our minds.
Yeah.
But that's why it's so normal to go through this. And I understand it because we have gone through this. Like we have gone through the whole journey of insecurity and then starting to build confidence, and then people doubt you, and then going and then building confidence, going massive confidence, going down. Like we've been through that whole cycle. So we understand these concepts. But I want you to look at that and say, hey, there's so much hope. Right? There's so much hope for you because we have good people like Andrew who are teaching us this from his experience. And how can I look at his story and be like, hey, okay, where in that moment when you were the most insecure, what did you do? You started complimenting people.
Right.
You gave what you most needed because you started to realize that everyone's a bit insecure. Like everyone's a bit, needs the compliments.
Yeah.
So like, hey, I'm not the weirdo who's insecure. Everyone's weird. So let me just do the best I can to like heal other people.
Yeah.
And then you start to become secure in yourself because you're like, wow, like my words are impactful and I see things and I'm actually a pretty cool person. And you start to like, hey, if I say a compliment to you and it affects you so well, what if I just said it to myself every day? Yeah. Dang, now I'm confident. And you keep doing that. Whole world changes.
Yeah. And something that I never realized, as a child or as a young man being insecure was what you just said. Many other people have had traumas and challenges and all sorts of crap they've had to deal with. And so knowing like they are going through it too.
Right.
Other people at any level, even confident people, they have a little self-doubt tries to creep in sometimes.
Type in the chat yes if you've seen this before. If you're resonating, if you're like, hey guys, thank you. This makes sense. Type in the chat yes. We have the comments like right here. When we're looking at you, we just see all the comments. And while we love being with you guys in person, we do read everything that we see there. And it's cool to feel like we're here with you. So let's go to 2.
Yes.
Okay. So number 2 is, the topic is recognizing spiritual warfare, what it feels like and how to fight back. Because me and Andrew throughout our lives, I know he has seen it so many times. Him coming from the place that he's been, it's happened. And I've gotten to learn from Andrew. But of course, in our experience, we've seen it before together. And at first I was like, what is going on? And it feels so terrible because I have such a faith in God, knowing that enemy exists, knowing that the devil exists, right? And I read a book one time by the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. What is the word? Outwitting the Devil. I read that book and I started to understand like the mind, quote unquote mindset of the devil, what he would say, what he would want to do. He's the one that creates doubt. He is the one that plants seeds in other people's minds to plant seeds in your mind of doubt.
Yeah.
right? That happens over and over again. So I started to protect myself in that way. But we've seen it before, but maybe people on here have seen it, but they haven't understood it. Or maybe people have experienced something recently and they want to know how to protect themselves and make sure their mind is good.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
The first thing, and by the way, if you guys ever listened to Paul Harvey, I always listen to. And now for the rest of the story. He had a segment he did 50, 60 years ago. I don't know how long, a long time ago. If I Were the Devil. You ever get a chance, go look that up on YouTube. Put it in your notepad. When this is over, go watch If I Were
It's
the
like
Devil.
a short video, like
It's
a 3-minute video.
Yeah, real short video. If I Were the Devil. And it's a very cool perspective of enemy thinking, if you will. But for each of you, I think it's so powerful. There's a Bible verse I often think of because, as we get into business, we get into life, like you can't help but experience good and evil. And if you're experiencing good and evil, then you say, okay, wait a second. If there's good and evil here, I need to know how to deal with both. I have to make sure the good doesn't allow me to be lifted up more than I should, and I have to make sure the evil doesn't take me out. And there's a Bible verse in Corinthians, 2 Corinthians, that says the weapons of our warfare ain't carnal, but they're spiritual. They're mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds. And there's another verse that says we don't wrestle against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and rulers of darkness in high places. And that shapes my perspective so much of dealing with challenges because I realize that everyone is going through something. And that as we step into our God-given gifts and power, that we know if there's good, there must be evil. And now I'm no longer surprised at attacks or at negative things because we all know the more we step into our power, the more good we do, that there is a resistance from evil. Right? Why is there bad things that happen in the world? And so to be protecting your mind with your relationship with God, to be protecting your mind with your self-talk, to remain strong and to not be overcome, the Bible says, with evil, but overcome evil with what? Good. Don't be overcome with evil, but overcome evil with good. So if more good overcomes evil, the evil goes away. When a light comes on, the light bulb doesn't fight the darkness. Just when the light shines, darkness goes away. Like, where'd it go? It's not there because the room's bright. And so that perspective shapes my belief around business and so many things. But what goes through your mind?
Well, I think I'm like most kids where I would be downstairs and I would be the last one down there watching some movie.
Yeah.
And I had to turn off all the lights and I'd always be like, no.
Yeah.
And there was one turner. It was a turn light. So I had to turn it slowly or as it flickered, I'd be like, I'm not making that thing flicker. So I'd turn it slowly and turn it slow. As soon as the light clicks and it was off, I ran my ass upstairs and I was like, no way that's happening. I did that for years, right? Because I always believed in light and darkness, and I just I was afraid of the dark for so long. And then I turned 25. Just kidding. I'm still 22. And I think that when I see something like that, because I believe in God so much and I see such great things happening, such great blessings, and I'm like, every time I'm like, yeah, that's God.
Yeah.
That's God. Amen. Beautiful. Hallelujah. Right? So when I see something in front of my face where it's so dark and I get the heebie-jeebies and I'm just like, oh my God, I start feeling that same thing as a kid again where it's like, turn off the lights and run. I kind of just want to like turn around, dip. And I think in those moments I've learned to like pray. I've learned to put in light, right? Yeah. Don't allow that doubt and confusion to overtake me. Instead, just sit there and pray and be like, God's got this, and have such an armor of God of like, what would God want me to say right now? Like, we're good. We're in a great place right now. God's got me. I'm good. I can look at you in the face and say like, we're good.
Well, I think there is, and we talked about this where between you and I, there is no fear. The Bible says there's no fear in love because fear has torment. Mm-hmm. So the two reverse emotions there are you're either feeling love, which God is love. Either you're feeling love or you're feeling fear, but you can't have both.
Right.
So either I'm being fearful and love is depleting, or I'm being filled with love and fear is depleting. And like when I look at it that way, and I don't think it as afraid or not afraid. I think it as fearful or full of love. It's like, of course I'm full of love. I love people. I love God.
Right.
And so now the fear, there's just no place for fear anymore. Doesn't mean it doesn't attempt to come up. And I'm talking about like a healthy fear or healthy intuition, right? We have that. There's a reason you have a feeling before you cross the road, you should look both ways.
Yeah.
That's a good intuition or caution. But that's not
I
being terrified.
have a question for you. So when something has happened to us where we see it's the enemy, right? Where we have full belief, hey, it feels weird. I got the heebie-jeebies. I'm like, yo, fuck that craziness. Let me get out of there. I start to get doubt in my mind, right? Because the enemy tries to put doubt, tries to put confusion in your mind, and you get these emotional shifts.
Yeah.
I noticed that if I was alone, like in that time of having those heebie-jeebies, I would have been doubting my mind that night, for example, and then going through a rabbit hole of like doubt, confusion, like that weed would have grew. I thought about that. And of course, like I have a good strength in God, so I would get myself out of it pretty quickly, call the right people, I'm good. But thinking about it, if this was 3 years ago, it would have probably overtaken me with doubt. And I've been overtaken with doubt before, where I've stopped a project because someone told me, hey, maybe that's not the right, or I don't think you should do that.
That's deep.
So when someone gets crept up with doubt or confusion or an emotional shift or an unexpected obstacle that kind of puts you down, how do you not let that overtake you?
Well, the first thing is, and I always take it back to the Bible because like that's my foundation.
It's your anchor, right?
And so I take it back and go, wait a second, is this of God or is this not of God? And the Bible says God is not the author of confusion. In other words, God don't create confusion.
Right.
So if I'm feeling confused and doubtful, that means that's the opposite of God, which means it's not good.
Right.
And so I come back to that to say, okay, why am I thinking this? And then I come to a confidence. This is a place where I step into like a power to know it's like we're good. I have no doubt, and I know this is not correct. And when you feel that way, for me, you trust your intuition because you have a very strong intuition.
Right.
So you trust your intuition. You know that this is not good. Confusion and doubt is not good. And then I turn it back to like the Bible and say, okay, is this correct? Is what I'm thinking correct in alignment with my foundation? And if the answer is yes, then there's no place for doubt. Like that we used to listen to an old radio show called Lum and Abner. It was from the 1930s. Growing up, we'd tune in on AM, I think it was AM 1390.
Right.
And we'd listen to Lum and Abner. And I remember Lum said about Abner one day, he said, once Abner gets something in his mind, you can't blow it out with a stick of dynamite. And that always stuck with me because to me, that's how we should be when we step into our power and know that we're correct. Now,
right.
If I know that I'm off track, I want to be coachable. So it doesn't mean that we're egotistical about it, but we're so confident in God and in ourselves, and in this case, intuition, and knowing like, okay, God's got us. I have no place for doubt, no place for fear, no place for worry, no place for confusion.
Yeah, I think, that comes with trusting your intuition, having an anchor.
Yeah.
Right now, for me, because I'm learning the Bible, I'm starting to get in that process. Like, of course, I'll come and talk to you, be like, hey, anchor me down with this idea. And then for me, sometimes I'll just go straight to ChatGPT and be like, here's what I'm going through. Here's the thoughts I have. How do I get past it? Give me a biblical anchor for it.
Yeah.
And then I'll get that confidence of like, hey, I'm feeling the right thing. But when it comes to your intuition, guys, you'll feel something in your stomach because each of us, we have our own built-in lie detector. We have this ability to not necessarily feel if someone's lying or not, but what a lie detector does, it senses different pulses, it senses your vibration, it senses your sweat, how it changes when different words or different feelings are said or felt. We have that same thing inside of us. We have like a built-in lie detector. And when your stomach is filled with negativity and filled with bad thoughts and heebie-jeebies, 99.9% of the time, guys, it was something bad that was happening. Mm-hmm. And then when your heart is filled with just pure joy and pure love and warmth, 99.9%, hey, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I've never heard someone say like they've got gypped from feeling 99% like awesomeness in their stomach.
Right.
It's always like, wow, this is good. And it's typically a great thing. It's the people that feel that goodness and then reject it, or feel the negativity and accept it, that go through those mistakes of like, damn, I should have trusted my intuition. I should have trusted my gut. And I think we've learned to trust our gut so much while anchoring it in the Bible. And that's why it's like, hey, anything, what we say and what we believe in, if we're going to do it, we will make sure we do not get off of that track.
Yeah. Well, I think too, and Leo, what you said there, back to the verse that I mentioned earlier, the weapons of our war is not carnal, but mighty to God, to the pulling down of strongholds. Right after that.
Mean?
What's that?
What does carnal mean?
Carnal, like fleshly, earthly.
Okay.
Like in life. It's like a spiritual thing. It would be like the opposite of spiritual. So if right after that, it says casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalts itself against the knowledge of God. And that to me says, you ever been in a place where like people get worked up into like this, oh crap, and then what if this happens? And then what if, oh shoot, what if, and then this could go wrong, and then this could happen? Like
overthinker.
It's vain imaginations. It's imaginations of like, what if I go in the garage, and what if I open the door, and what if I back out in the street? What if somebody hits me? Like that would put me in such a state where I wouldn't even leave the house. Anxiety would take over.
Yeah.
And so God trains us to cast down the imaginations, to say, I'm not giving place to this kind of negative thinking. Now, for me, understanding the difference between throwing out the bad thoughts like that is just anxiety that do no good, is different than, say, every time I've had a major breakthrough, like right before we met and started launching our businesses together, like I was somewhat terrified, because like I could sense everything changing, and we was stepping into something I had never done before. You know, we'd never built what we have now built together and are just getting started. So I think it's so powerful as we understand that feeling. That is like a confirmation of saying, okay, I'm nervous, but that's right. We lean into this thing versus saying, hey, let me just dwell on the negative things, because that doesn't do good for us or the people we're around. It just brings a ton of negativity.
I'm reading some of your guys' comments, and guys,
oh, this is good.
When you write stuff down, like it teaches us, hey, we're not doing this just to like teach and share experiences. Like we're here to learn from you guys. We have our incredible pastor here. We have some of our incredible students, our incredible friends. And it's kind of like a gathering. It's us to gather every single day, weekdays, 3 p.m. for us to chat, and for you guys also to teach us things, right? As we're learning from you and you're learning from us, share those experiences. And we have Randall saying Genesis 1:3 says that God spoke the universe into existence, which I'm curious to talk about that more, because, you know, that's, I think, akin to us talking about what you speak about, right? The importance of us and words and in general. And then Fernot says, dogs can smell fear, but humans can smell BS.
This is true. My
My dog can smell BS as well. When I say the W word, and I don't actually take him sometimes, he can now smell BS.
That's
okay.
WALK, if you was wondering.
That's right.
Can't say it, he'll go nuts downstairs.
grabbing the wok to make fried rice, and he's like, this guy. Okay, so this leads us to number 3, which is faith and focus. How to stay grounded in God when life feels heavy.
Yeah.
Because life has felt very heavy for us in the past. You know, today we feel very light because we just went through a huge project that we've been working on for 6 months.
Yeah.
And it feels light. But in the midst of the whole 6 months, it felt heavy. We had things going on, but we were still able to trust in God and create light moments, create light days, so the heaviness wouldn't overload us.
Right.
Me and Andrew have had a day one day, couple months ago, where we just sat there, and, you know, I kind of just let it all out. I was like, it has been so heavy. So much is going on. Cried, craziness. I was like, dang, this is a lot. And we just had that moment. And right after that, we felt a little bit more light. We prayed and we anchored ourselves back in, right? We created that same, you know, that feeling of motivation when you watch a motivational video. Yeah. We were able to create that through God, which is the coolest thing, by the way. Like when you can create the feeling of motivation through God versus like motivational videos, which are super cool, by the way. Like all motivational videos, awesome. I used to post those all the time. But when you create that everlasting motivation, everlasting faith and groundedness through scripture and through God and through prayer, it is like a cheat code. It's the coolest thing that I've ever experienced.
Takes you so deep, and as you ground yourself in that, to me, it takes us to the next level of purpose. Because I used to get up some mornings like when I felt I was out of alignment with my purpose,
Right.
and it was like, this business sucks, this day sucks. Why am I even doing this?
Yeah.
You know, and remember that feeling years ago, and it's very demotivating. And I understand in those moments, it was just discipline that kept me there. So I started this for a bigger reason. I about forgot what it was, but I had some reason. I know I did. So I got to do this darn thing.
And when you anchor, so that feeling, right, is it
Yeah.
shows Andrew's discipline. When he has something set out, he will create the discipline to do it. I was the same way with school, but I would hate my life every morning at 8 a.m. when I woke up to go to school, and then for work as well. I felt that deep feeling until I left high school, started my business, and became an entrepreneur for myself. That's when that feeling finally went away. But then you still have to create that discipline for yourself to do that, to know that you're doing something for a deeper purpose. And that's what you taught me in this business, where over the past 5 years, we've gone every single day with no stop. We rest, but every single day. We kind of veered off a little bit, but Andrew, how when life feels so overwhelming, do we trust in God and narrow our focus, fix our eyes on God and what matters the most?
For me, it starts with an understanding of saying, okay, why am I doing this, and how do I truly trust God through this?
Okay.
And so I remember in 2019, 2020, all the way back to 2014 when I started the business, I kept thinking, if I can just get 50 houses, then I'll be at X. I can do this thing. If I can just do 200 deals, well, crap, I done 200. If I could just get to 400, well, crap, I done 400. And so everything, I kept moving that ball forward, believing one day I would. And it wasn't until we connected that I realized the time is now, meaning the higher the levels, the higher the devils.
Say that one more time.
The higher the levels, the higher the devils. Can I get an amen?
Amen.
So as I started to understand that and really like understood what that means, there's never going to be a time, never has been a time where it's like, oh yes, finally we got there. We can finally just never work or think about anything again, and our life is perfect, because I frankly would hate that life.
Yeah.
Like I set back, the cash flow is where I wanted it to be, and I'm like, I gotta get to work, right? And so I'm like, wait a second, I got to get back to why I'm doing this. And so everything I look now, and talked a little bit about the last several weeks, we had 5 events to host and launched the Daily Show and doing all the other things we're doing, the real estate projects, the other projects, some projects with our Freedom Life family, like all of these moving pieces. And some days it was just like day to night is like go nonstop, event prep and planning. And so in those moments, used to, I would have been like, oh, if I could just get X. Now I realize like it's just part of the thing. And I truthfully enjoyed the last several weeks, even though they could have been borderline overwhelming at times with all of the projects moving.
Right.
Because I'm like, thank God, get to work with my brother.
That's right.
We get to have a fun time. We get to grow. We get to know better, because now at the next level later this year, when the Daily Show, when the Daily Live here is at the level it's going to be in a few months, when our coming events are going to be much larger in size, now we have learned, we've got the reps in how to better serve at the next level.
I've got a firm belief that God gives us these lessons and challenges not only to teach us, right? That's that was a breakthrough I had to learn. God gives us lessons because God, give me confidence. Right. God's not just gonna boom. All right, let's give you bigger muscles. Let's make your jawline a little ching. Everything crazy. Let's stack the bank account. He doesn't just do that. He gives you some lessons to put your ass down. You're like, whoa, okay, let me grow from this, and then you get confidence from the growth, right? From the doing, from the daily doing. Okay, cool. I asked God for confidence. He gave me a lesson, and it gave me confidence. Super cool. I realized though that if life was just easy breezy every single day, creating awesomeness, we would have no purpose. we wouldn't shoot for more. We wouldn't create more. We wouldn't have to help people.
Yeah.
Our deepest purpose is helping people,
Right.
right? At its core. I think a lot of people's purpose is helping people.
That's so true.
But that gives us purpose every single day. And God gives us lessons and challenges and tests, so we have to keep getting better.
Yeah.
Higher the levels, higher the devils. That used to scare me because I was like, okay, let's stay at this level because we beat that boss. We beat that devil and we kicked his ass. Let's just stay here.
Yeah.
We don't have to grow. This was fine. And then we start to realize it gets very dull and boring and the world moves on. And then you have no purpose. We don't use for us, we don't use our core as a man to say, let's keep going. Right. And I was kind of just like, okay, let's just stay here. Let's go. We don't need to see that guy up, on the next level. But then you're like, hey, are we good?
We're good.
We gonna keep going?
Let's get past the comfort zone.
Let's get past the comfort zone. Let's get out of there. And then we're gonna meet the boss next, whoever the next devil is, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes every single time. And God's never gonna give you something that you can't handle. He's never given us a boss that has killed us.
Yeah.
Right? He's never given us something
still
too crazy. We've been strong enough to this point. And every single time we grow, that's when we step out, we're like, let's armor ourselves.
Right.
Are we good? Make sure we're good.
Mm.
Is our finances good? Is the team good? Are we prepared for the next level of the next devil?
Right.
And then we go and we go and we go. And then when we witness it, we're like, yo, we've been waiting. Boom. Kicked your ass because we got the man above. That is our attitude when it comes to anything with the enemy. And it helps because we got the brotherhood, right? But also we have the confidence now that a devil is going to come. The enemy is going to come because we're doing good. We're trying to help people because that is our purpose. And we're living our purpose fully. And our purpose is inspiring other people to live their purpose. So people are going to take us down. But when it comes, it's like, fuck you. We win.
Now, have you ever been driving along at, 30 miles an hour and you see somebody flying up to a stop sign beside you and they're not going to stop, right? Mm-hmm. But because you knew they weren't going to stop, you swerved or you stopped and avoided the wreck. So that's kind of how I view what you just described, Leo, is like we know that there's going to be challenges that come. We don't desire them, but we know there's going to be challenges. The more we serve, the higher we grow. And for each of you, just expect the challenge. You're going to have to figure out the $50,000 money raised, the $500,000, or the $5 million. It's all the same challenge. And so regardless of where you are in the journey, it's like there's going to be challenges. But now it doesn't take you by surprise. There's a Bible verse that says that basically trials don't take us by surprise. We anticipate them, knowing God will never put more on us than we can handle. I think that's such a powerful thing, knowing we always have the strength in that moment to handle. We always will have. We just have to trust and know it's good.
Yes. What a great topic.
Yeah.
That was good.
What's something they can do to stay centered and to stay calm in challenging times?
I've learned to type in the chat to surrender. But it's a tool. Surrendering is a tool.
Surrender. Oh, that's a big one.
But if we don't know how to use a certain tool, nothing really happens.
Yeah. Right?
So for me, surrendering was hard because I surrendered to nobody. I had no authority over me. My mom, she's an amazing mother, but she was my best friend. Right. So we collaborated on things, but I never surrendered to anybody. So the idea of surrendering to a God that I couldn't see was like, that's not happening. And this is before I understood the word, understood the experiences that I had to go through to bring myself closer to Christ. And what surrendering to me has meant is taking the burden that we have and laying it down for God to take, laying it down for Jesus to take. Hey, God, I'm going through this. It is very heavy right now, but because my faith is strong, I lay it onto you and I cast those anxieties onto you because it's not going to affect you, right? I used to think like, God, I don't know if you can take this, but if you can help me with it, can you take some? I don't want to hurt you, right? I always have that mindset, but now I know he's the all powerful, right? Yeah. So I cast it onto you. I give it to you. I lay it to you. And to me, it's just the faith of knowing that he's got it. Mm-hmm. We're good. I'm not going to give it to you and sit here and just wait, but I'm going to cast the anxiety of the situation onto you, the burden onto you, and I'm gonna keep moving and trust that God's got me through the pathway. And usually when that happens, all of a sudden I'm clear, right? I have clarity of mind, so I typically know what to do next. And I thank God for that moment of like, thanks for that clarity.
Something you just said, because there's a Bible verse that says, cast all your cares on him because he cares for you. And I immediately I was raised on a farm, and our neighbors had horse trailers. Of course, we would haul pigs on these trailers, and I always would see horse trailers, and I would just imagine there's a Bible verse that says, every day God loads us with benefits, and his mercies are new every single morning. And so I envision we cast our cares, our troubles, our challenges, right? We just give those to God, knowing like he's got us.
Yeah.
And then every morning it says daily he loads us with benefits. What's benefits? Blessings, things that we need. And so every time I would read that verse when I was little, daily he loads us with benefits, I would just imagine this great big horse trailer filled with boxes of gifts. And like God just throwing benefits at us. But we can't carry the benefits and the blessings if we're carrying the cares. Right? You ever tried to carry more crap than you can carry and open the door and
stub your toe, square up with the door,
drop stuff like you're overloaded.
Yeah.
And so in order to receive the benefits or blessing, we first have to remove the cares and the problems, or not remove, but hand off. Did I trust in you with this? He says, cool. Trust you with more blessings and benefits.
I imagine anxiety. I like to characterize the emotions that I feel. I like to think of anxiety as a blockage, right? It's a blockage that will keep scaring you, keep trying to put you down. So I have to let go of that anxiety before I get to that next place. Because imagine anxiety as a person. You guys ever watch Inside Out? Inside Out, there was anxiety. Inside Out 2, there's anxiety in there, and it tried pulling all the other emotions away. It didn't allow happiness to control. It took control, and anxiety is probably the most powerful emotion. Wow. Because it's directed by fear. It's directed by doubt. All the things of the enemy, anxiety holds. That's why I focus on casting that anxiety out. God, I am anxious right now. I feel angst. Please take that away. I lay that onto you. And then I'm able to do my tools the God-given tools that I've been given of breathing, right? There's a box breathing I do, and Andrew asked about a practical tip. I do a 7-7-7-7 box breathing thing, and it works every single time. You imagine a box, right? I think a box here, right? You breathe in for 7, you hold it for 7, you breathe out for 7, and you hold that for 7, and you do that twice. When you do that, everything starts to calm in your nervous system. And if we understand that we can calm our nervous system, and that is what calms anxiety, perfect. That is a God-given talent. That's a God-given gift. That's a God-given tool that we all have. But we forget to breathe.
Yeah.
And then when we get anxious, what happens? We forget to breathe.
Yeah.
And then we lose that ability. But you just have to when you fix your mind on God, for some reason for myself, I'm always able to just breathe because I know God would have me breathe. He would just say breathe. When people are hyperventilating, you just say breathe, right? So I use it every day before I get anxious, before I get into a mix of swirls in my stomach. I ground myself first.
Yeah, that's powerful. Moving to the next topic, leading with strength. What does that mean to you?
Strength. Leading with strength. Okay. So this is such an important topic for me and Andrew to talk about, because every day we ask ourselves, how can we be better leaders? We study leadership every day. We talk to leaders every day. We read about leaders every day. Yeah. But most importantly, we embody leadership every single day. For example, on this live, it is us showing up every day at 3 p.m. Eastern time on weekdays so that we can continually improve upon ourselves and then show up, because we teach the philosophy of Kaizen, get 1% better every day. This is us showing that we're getting 1% better every day and continually improving. And of course, living our philosophy of kingdom driven principles and the 8 categories of life. But leadership is this idea of, lack of a better word, leading by example. And we're gonna go so much deeper into it, like Leo and Andrew style. But leading by example is one of the hardest things ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is so hard because you can't fake.
Yeah.
Like I can fake, but I can fake for about 4 hours before I get so tired. And
Got the real.
you can fake for about 4 hours. Some people could fake for like 4 years. And my mom always told me, a woman can fake for a year. A woman can fake for 2 years. You date her for 3 years, 4 years. She can't fake for 5 years. I tried it. And they'll always show the real version because you can't fake for that long. But when you lead by example, when you're leading so many people look at every micro expression that you got. Hey, he just raised his left eyebrow. Why?
Yeah.
Right? Why did he just close his eyes? Why is he blinking so fast? Hey, what's going on? Why is he moving his hands around? Everything, they start watching you.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa, you don't have to be, you can choose to try to be perfect and then burn out. Or you could be so real where you're just like, hey, here's my intention. Here's my thoughts. You can look at me and I am going to lead by example because I'm being so real.
Yeah. Well, I think that's very powerful. Something I heard a long time ago was you can never stop your influence. You can just choose what kind of influence you share.
Yeah.
And
that's good.
As you're being that influence and example in your world, whether that's with your wife, your husband, your kids, your team, your coworkers, like it doesn't matter where you are, you are the person that you are. And your influence is surrounding you. People around you are being influenced.
Right.
Whether it is going, gosh, I sure like it when that guy or that person shows up, when that girl shows up, they change my world. Like I smile and I'm delighted. I'm excited. Or somebody that goes, gosh, every time I see them, they just drain my energy. And be the leader who inspires everyone and lifts up. Doesn't mean that there's not negative times or times that we don't have uncomfortable conversations, because not everything is always perfect. We have to grow together. And part of leadership is being willing to have hard conversations fast. But if you can empower others and lead in that way, you'll have the respect and the permission to speak into your team's lives, your friends' lives, your partners' lives, whoever's lives you're around, because you've already gained that trust and respect. They understand you are who you are. That's why I often say I'm just too old to deal with crap I don't like. I don't like dealing with whether it be in any capacity, in team and projects and fix and flips and in building a community. Because if someone only has a negative intent or is always meant to tear down, we just don't allow that poison around us anymore.
Never. Get away. Your negativity stinks. We say it out loud.
Well, that's a powerful thing to know, because I didn't know that for years. Like I didn't know I had the ability to control who I allowed into my life. Like that never occurred to me.
What me and Andrew do now, when we feel it, we just go up and go, "You smell like negativity.
Right?
Get out of here." And so we don't do that. We don't go up there and sniff them and say you smell like negativity, but we exude so much of us where people don't, like, they just know, hey, they're not going to accept my negativity.
No drama, no negativity.
Let me fix it or remove myself. Because like we have had moments where, like, when they come up to us, we're nice people.
Yeah,
like
generally
we're generally we're kind people. And we just don't take shit though. Right? We don't take stuff. We don't like smelling bad things. Like, we just like to be around our people. And because here's the thing, when you have your people, like, you no longer need external validation.
Oh, that's powerful.
And when you're confident in yourself, you no longer need external validation. So
who's our people though?
Our people are the ones who have developed such a strong security in themselves, where they don't need other people either. So it starts with yourself. It starts with you. When you no longer need external validation because you give it to yourself and you trust yourself more than anyone else's words. Someone can insult me to my face, say, "Leo, you are a bad speaker," or "You are this, that." I will say, "Okay, thank you." And my mind will go, "Is it true?" And my soldiers in my mind will be like, "No, you're good, dude. Just smile. Keep talking to this car. Have fun." And I'll just be like, "Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me what's going through your mind. Like, how can I improve? I just want to improve." So my mind is always going to protect myself so much, where even someone I respect so much tells me something to my face, insults me to my face. you will not see me fold. I will play with the situation to have fun.
Resistance.
You know what I mean? So it's like when you become that person, now I don't need anything, but anyone that comes into my life is an add-on. Andrew, same way. He doesn't need anyone. I am an add-on to his life. But when we're like that, it's like, yo, we don't need each other, but we add so much. So why would I ever do anything to oppose that?
Right.
Why would he ever do anything to oppose that? It doesn't make sense. And he's anchored in God. I'm anchored in God. And it's tested over and over again.
Excuse you. Alignment.
It is alignment. And we feel that where we understand the intention. So when you have those people and somebody comes into your life, you start to just say in your mind, first of all, it's not like you start by saying, I don't need you.
Right.
But you start by asking your questions, like, how are you feeling? I ask how someone is feeling all the time because I just want to see what their energy is. If they're having a bad day, but they're the right person, they will respond in a good way.
That's a pre-screening process. Somebody said, I can't believe he burped on the live. That's a pre-screening process. If somebody complains.
That's right. Everything we do, everything happens for a reason. Everything we do is for a reason.
Sincerely, though, this is very important because the feedback we got like this week from people, it's
Right.
like, oh my gosh, I feel like I was just like, I found my people.
Right.
Like, I just had a breakthrough. Like, thank you guys. And it's not just us, it's the whole group, right? Because we only accept people who are of our tribe.
That's right.
In that way, people who say, hey, I want to see others do well. Where's my people at? I feel like I've been alone in this journey. And that all stemmed from and has stemmed and is stemming from us saying, hey, let's give what we most need. We both had lonely journeys in the early stages.
Mm-hmm.
Then how do we come together and then not only have our brotherhood that we love building together, but now how do we share that vibe, that feeling with our people, with the people in our sphere who also want to experience that?
The reason we build people up so much is because we build each other up and we build ourselves up like every day.
That's
Like
so
there's
powerful.
not a day that I'm not hyping myself up in every aspect. And there's not a day that we're not complimenting each other and giving each other that lift up. Right. And you surround yourself with people who are like you. When you are confident, right? When you are confident, you attract the right people, have good filters. We attract people who have the capability to lift themselves up and lift other people up.
Yeah.
Always. And that's why we're surrounded by those people. So, good leaders, they're not focused on results. They're not focused on perfection. They're not focused on the greatest things ever. They just build people up.
Yeah.
It is your job as a leader. It is my job as a leader to build you up, to praise you for the things that you're truly doing well at, to compliment, and also to give constructive criticism in a good way for the things that I know you can work on if you can accept it. And for us as leaders to do the thing that we would want them to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's something that if there's something I'm not doing already myself that has given me benefit in my life, that has created more for my life, that I'm criticizing you on,
Right.
I would never do, right? But if there's something that has helped me that I think could help you, that's good leadership. But it's showing it first. And then great. It's like a whole masterclass on leadership. But if I wanted to teach someone something, I would do the thing so well and allow the benefit to exude. So the person comes and asks me, hey, how are you doing that? Is there something I can do to do better, to be like that?
That's so powerful. And as we lead in that way, because I've seen people try to help, say, one of their team members with something.
Mm-hmm.
And they told the team member a good thing, and maybe they even had a good relationship, but they shared it in a way that say, team member couldn't accept, right? They was just said it in a way that come across as unpleasant. And the same thing can happen, but in a different way by asking the right questions. That's why often, for those of you who are part of our Freedom Life family and working with us, you'll often hear me say, can I coach you? I'm getting ready to say something that's very direct. It's meant, though, to build you up. That's why I'm asking that. But once I have that permission to speak into your life, now you say, yes, like, please, go do it, right? Tell me what the thing is. I'll change it. And now I have permission to say, I really believe if this was different, you could impact or improve in this area. and it gives an opportunity for improvement.
And it comes from love.
That's
Every
so
time.
important. And people can tell if you're full of crap, if you're just being mean, or if you're telling them something from love.
And I think that is what God wants, right? God is love.
So much so.
When we learn by how God teaches us through lessons, he doesn't give us such a sharp, painful lesson all the time. Sometimes you need it.
Every
right?
once in a while.
Right? Because here's something I learned, right? God will give us a feather first, right? And if we notice the feather and we learn the lesson from the feather, perfect.
Oh, this is good.
But if you don't learn the lesson from the feather, he'll throw a little pebble at you.
Yeah.
Hit you right in the thing, right? And you might hit it and you don't notice it. You don't learn the lesson. So he's going to throw a little rock at you, right? It's not going to kill you. He'll throw a little rock at you. But if you don't learn the lesson, you're going to go down a bad path anyways.
I skipped the feather and the rock and the brick. I went all the way like to the cement blocks.
So he'll throw a brick at you, and then he'll throw a cement block at you. And he just wants you to pay attention to learn the lesson. But if you don't get the cement block, well, a train's going to hit you anyways. And that's the piece where you have to listen and you have to go you have to look at it like that, where first you'll throw the feather. Yeah. Like if I see something, with Andrew, it'll kind of just be a heavier pebble. I'll just throw right at his forehead, and he'll do the same. He'll typically do feathers, but you start with a feather of by leading by example and showing them a little bit. Hey, I noticed something was going on. How are you feeling? Well, it's a feather. And then if they don't take that, then it's like, hey, I'm going to bring something up to you. I've noticed a couple things. You're a little bit more stern, right? If they don't take that, if it's a team member, you typically let them go. We let them go if they don't take the pebble. But after that, it's the rock. You throw a little rock at them. Like, hey, this has been going on for a couple of weeks. What is happening?
Yeah.
Are you okay? Is there something that you need from me in order to address this? That's the rock, right? A little more leadership, a little bit more stern, a little more into it. And let's just say this is a family member. This is someone who's heavily in your life where you can't just fire them. You can't just let them go. Then it's like, hey, we need to talk. We need to make sure this doesn't happen again.
Right.
I'm going to remove myself from the situation, and then you distance yourself. That's a bit of a still kind of a pebble. But you see the styles of leadership there. It all stems from how you speak it, how you feel it, how you lead, because I'm leading the person. This isn't Andrew. I talk to Andrew very differently. But someone that you're talking to, you lead them.
Point the other direction.
Okay, got it. Awesomeness. The person that I'm leading, you do it through voice. You do it through words. You do it through guidance in that way. Does that make sense, Drew?
Absolutely. I think it's a powerful illustration.
Right.
Yeah. I like
Let's
that.
go to 5.
Let's do it. So, daily habits to align your spiritual strength and your strong tools, your ability to stay consistent, to stay strong in your mind and your soul and your body. What's those things, those actionables that everyone can take away?
Small daily victories lead to long-term success. What are those small victories? What are those small little pieces that we can continue to grow and grow and grow and grow? And the biggest thing that has benefited us is our routine.
Yeah.
Right? Is our morning routine. Did I do my morning routine this morning? I did not. We've had a crazy week, and I slept in because I've gotten no sleep. But here's the thing. I'll do it tomorrow, and I'll talk about it more tomorrow. But biggest thing that has helped us overall is doing a morning routine.
Yeah.
And I say that because I woke up late, but I still did a piece of my morning routine.
Of course.
I still prayed to God. I still talked to God. I still got myself moving.
You're still intentional.
Still
breathing.
intentional.
Still gratitude.
That is the most important. Having an intentional morning routine where you just ground yourself in prayer. And because this topic was talking about spiritual warfare, this topic was talking about the depths of what can happen of the enemy in your mind.
Yeah.
But when you every morning can just ground yourself and set the intention of having prayer with you, having God with you, throughout the day, you're gonna make the right choices.
Absolutely.
In terms of music, I've only listened to worship music for the past 5 days because I needed to ground myself.
Yeah.
A week before, I was listening to rap music, and of course, I was in the gym more, right? But I wasn't in the right place mentally. This week, you see me. I've been so boom, 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 making the right choices, everything I do.
Yeah.
But that's because I set my morning routine. I set my intention in the morning to focus on God, keep my eyes fixed on God and every decision you make is in accordance to that.
Priorities. I think that's what's the most important takeaway is priorities. How do I make sure I am prioritizing? Because we all only have 24 hours in a day, and we
That's
have
right.
a lot more stuff to do if we some people say, man, it's just not enough hours in the day. And it all comes down to priorities. The richest, the poorest, and everybody in between have the same amount of time. The person that you're going to become in 2025 is going to be a result of what you do every single day. It all adds up. So stay committed to the process. Trust the process. Keep showing up, hanging out with us. We're going to keep delivering value and pointers and suggestions of how we're growing and how you can too. What else should we share as we're about to wrap up?
Honestly, guys, you know the answer. The one thing you can do, of course, do your morning routine. But on weekdays, show up at 3 p.m. Eastern time every single day. Me and Andrew, just think about how much you got from this one. If you feel it, if you're like, hey, this was really good. I feel like my faith is growing. I feel like my leadership is growing. I feel like I have enough energy to run through a wall. Whatever it is, if you want more of that and you want more of the tools and actionables, make sure to use them, but also show up here because these are the conversations that me and Andrew have. We're having our tea time.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Cheers
Boom.
to tea time.
And we just want to share that with you, and we want to talk to you guys and experience it with you guys because that's how we learned as well.
Yeah.
So everyone go to daily.truca.com, and this is where you're going to get reminders so you don't miss a day, right? Because we want to start building that massive consistency up in every single one of us so that we can continue to grow. So daily.truca.com, I want every single one of you guys to go here. Look at this. Look at this dude.
It's a good looking dude.
Who's this guy? Daily.truca.com. It's going to give you reminders. We're also going to be sending out messages of surprises that we have. We're going to be doing this show with bigger and bigger guests. It's going to be me and Andrew interviewing some people. We got some trips that we're planning for you guys. A lot of cool stuff is happening.
Yeah.
So, but it's only going to be for the daily.truca.com guys who are going through the reminders. We're going to send you guys those texts as we're doing those big days and special things. But last piece that I want to give you guys is today. Today, whatever is on your mind, whatever burden is on your mind, whatever doubt and negativity is going through your mind, just talk to God about it. Give it to God and say, God, I trust that you're going to take this over.
Yeah.
And then you'll start to get that clarity. You'll start to feel a little bit more of a sense of relief and peace. And from there, I just want you to, that's actually all I want you to do. Do you want them to do anything?
Just give it to God. That's a powerful, powerful action step. And that's a deep suggestion because that's so easily said. And sometimes we, as humans, struggle with that. I know I have.
I struggled with it for years.
And so just work on that. Just let yourself do that thing. And your whole world is about to change.
Good. Well, thank you guys so much. It's been a wonderful day. Thank you, Andrew, for your
Thank you, brother.
10 years of battles. And we'll see you guys tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Tomorrow,
on
same place,
Tuesday.
same time. See you then. Bye for now, guys.
Peace.